Hi Internet, and welcome to 2024. This is Abby's Amateur Astronomy. Welcome to the channel. I know it's been a minute. I took a long holiday break to spend time with my friends and family, write my New Year's resolutions, and overall just had a good time relaxing and not worrying about anything. And whoever you are, I hope that you've had good holidays as well. Alright, let's jump into it. This is the 2024 Astronomical Events calendar video. So first thing that I want to say is 2024 is going to be an incredible year to view the northern lights. The aurora borealis are going to reach pretty far south this year, so regions where you normally can't see them, which is very exciting. Should lead to lots of pictures and videos this year. This is happening because our sun is reaching the peak of its 11-year natural cycle. This is called the solar maximum. And what this means is there's going to be an increase in solar activity, making it more likely for the sun to produce coronal mass ejections or CMEs, and this is what causes the lights. Okay, so hopping right into January. Several of these events will have already happened before you see this. I'm still going to include them in here just for the sake of having a complete record, and it's a nice little review of what has already happened in 2024. Kicking off the new year on January 3rd is when Earth is at its perihelion. This means that we're at the closest point to the sun. This doesn't really have any effect on us in our day-to-day life. Common misconception is that this is what would cause summer if closer to the sun, or should be hotter, right? That's how conduction works, but that's actually not the case. We know that what determines seasons is actually the amount of direct sunlight that we get. So you know how Earth is on its tilt. The point of Earth that is tilted towards the sun is actually going to receive the most amount of direct sunlight, and therefore is going to be the warmest and going to be in the summer months. Nothing to do with the distance between the sun and the Earth. Then on the night of January 3rd into the morning of January 4th, we had the Qandra meteor shower. Its peak reached about 40 meteors per hour, and it should have been pretty good viewing even with a waning gibbous moon, which would have blocked out some of the meteors. But 40 meteors per hour is a pretty active meteor shower, so you should have been able to see some good shooting stars. On January 8th, we had the Peregrine Lunar Lander launch. This was the United Launch Alliance, or ULA's Vulcan Centaur rocket's maiden launch from Cape Canaveral, Florida, that was carrying the lunar lander developed by Astrobiotech Technology. They were selected by NASA's Commercial Lunar Payload Services Program, or Eclipse, in which commercial companies bid to deliver payloads for NASA and help prepare humans to travel to the moon again. The lunar lander will have a total of 10 payloads of various specific equipment, including a lander capacity of around 90 kilograms. And then on January 12th, we had Mercury at greatest western elongation. It was 23.5 degrees from the sun and should have had great viewing of the planet because it was at its highest point in the sky in the morning. On January 19th, we have the SLIM mission lunar landing. SLIM stands for Smart Lander for Investigating Moon, and it aims to demonstrate a landing within 330 feet or less precision, and it'll land in the Scioli crater. Ending the month on January 25th is the Kashida Comet perihelion. This comet can be seen through powerful binoculars or a small telescope. It'll have a magnitude of at least 7.4. This is when the comet will reach its closest point to the sun. It already passed by Earth, reaching its closest point to us in December of 2023. Moving along into February. On February 6th, we have the PACE launch. PACE stands for Plankton, Aerosol, Cloud, and Ocean Ecosystem. It'll launch from Cape Canaveral on a Falcon 9 rocket. This is a NASA Earth satellite with the goal to make global ocean color measurements and to extend data about ocean ecology, global biogeochemistry, clouds, and aerosols. On February 14th, which is also Valentine's Day, we'll have the Pan-STARRS Comet perihelion. This comet will reach its closest approach to the sun with a magnitude of 7.3, so it should be visible in the southeastern horizon. This comet's closest approach to Earth will then be in March. So February 23rd, we have the Peregrine Mission 1, the moon landing. The one that was launched in January will finally land on February 23rd. It will land in what is known as the Bay of Stickiness. The main goal of this lunar lander is to study the lunar exosphere, lunar regolith, magnetic fields, and radiation environment. Moving into March, on March 20th, we have the equinox. The equinox is when there's equal amount of day and night on Earth and the sun is above the equator. In the northern hemisphere, this marks the first day of spring, so this is also referred to as the spring equinox. And in the southern hemisphere, it is the opposite, so it marks the first day of fall. On March 22nd, we have the Pons-Brooks comet might become visible. This might be visible to the naked eye, but its closest approach to the sun will be in April. Up next, on March 24th, Mercury will be at its greatest eastern elongation. It'll be 18.7 degrees from the sun, and it'll have its best viewing because it'll be at its highest point above the horizon in the evening. On March 25th, we have our first eclipse of the year. It's a penumbral lunar eclipse. This is when the moon passes through Earth's partial shadow and it'll darken. This will be visible from North America, Mexico, Canada, and South America. In April 8th, this will be probably the most exciting, well, there's a few exciting events of the year, but this is probably one of the most exciting events of the year. It is the total solar eclipse, and it can be seen in North America. This is when the moon completely blocks out the sun, and the sun's outer atmosphere, also known as the corona, will become visible. This last occurred in 2017, but the next one won't happen again until 2025. So definitely an event that you cannot miss. I'll put a map on the screen for reference on the best viewing areas, but if you do get out and see it, make sure to wear eye protection. Do not look at the eclipse with your naked eye. It can still cause damage. Following that up, on April 22nd into the 23rd, we have the Lyrids meteor shower. This will be about 20 meteors per hour at its peak. It's going to have pretty poor visibility. There is a full moon that night whose light will block out a lot of the meteors. Okay, moving into May 6th through the 7th, we have Eta Aquariids meteor shower. This meteor shower is going to be pretty active with 60 to 70 meteors per hour at its peak, but it's going to be most visible from the southern hemisphere. However, there's going to be a new moon, which is going to be great for visibility and viewing conditions. This meteor shower is produced by dust particles left behind by Halley's Comet. Following that, on May 9th, we have Mercury at greatest western elongation. It'll be 26.4 degrees from the sun and have another great viewing opportunity. It'll be at its highest point above the horizon in the morning. And not a whole lot of events happening in June, but we do have the June solstice on the 20th. This is when the North Pole will be tilted the most towards the sun. It is the first day of summer in the northern hemisphere and the first day of winter in the southern hemisphere. Okay, moving into July. On July 5th, we have Earth's aphelion. This is the furthest point from the sun that will be, and again, just like the perihelion, it doesn't mean much to us here. On July 22nd, we have another Mercury at greatest eastern elongation. It'll be 26.9 degrees from the sun, with the best time to view in the evening sky because it'll be the highest above the horizon. So July 28th into 29th will be the Delta Aquariids meteor shower. It'll be about 20 meteors per hour at its peak, and the viewing conditions will be just okay due to the second order moon. But if you get some dark skies, you should still see some shooting stars. So coming into August, on August 12th into the 13th, we have the Perseids meteor shower. This will be really active at about 60 meteors per hour at its peak. There will be a first quarter moon and the light may block out some of the meteors, but the moon should set just after midnight, making this still a great meteor shower to watch. This shower is produced by the Swift-Tuttle comet. In September 5th, we have Mercury at its greatest western elongation. Again, it's 18.1 degrees from the sun and its highest point above the horizon in the evening sky. On September 8th, we'll have Saturn in opposition. This is the closest approach to Earth and therefore the best time to get out and view Saturn and maybe take a photograph of the planet and its rings and moons. On September 18th, we will have a partial lunar eclipse. This is when the moon will pass through the Earth's partial shadow. The moon will look to us just like it'll darken, and we might see the outline of Earth. It should be visible from North America, Mexico, Canada, South America, most of Europe, and Africa. On September 20th, we will have Neptune at opposition. Again, this just means Neptune's closest approach to Earth, and best time to view it. You will probably need binoculars or a small telescope to see the small blue dot in the sky. On September 22nd, we have the September equinox. Again, this is when we have equal amounts of day and night, and in the northern hemisphere this marks the first day of fall, so it's also called the autumn equinox or the autumnal equinox, and in the southern hemisphere it marks the first day of spring. Moving into October, on October 2nd, we have the annular solar eclipse. This is when the moon passes in front of the sun, but it is too far away to completely cover it. Therefore, the corona isn't visible. It's still a cool sight to see, but it will be mostly visible from southern South America. So on October 6th, we have the Europa Clipper launch. Europa is an icy moon that surrounds Jupiter. So this mission's main aim is to study the possible underground ocean and determine if that is actually habitable, if there are conditions that might be suitable to life. This is one of the top contenders within our solar system for possible places in which life could exist, but it is not scheduled to arrive at Jupiter until around April 11th of 2030. On October 7th, we have the Draconids meteor shower. At its peak, it'll only reach about 10 meteors per hour, and it's not going to have very good viewing conditions because it's best in the evening, and there will be a second quarter moon blocking many of its meteors. On October 21st through 22nd, we have the Orionids meteor shower. It'll reach 20 meteors per hour at its peak, and it is produced from the dust of Halley's Comet. There will be a waning gibbous moon, and that might block out a lot of the fainter meteors. Moving into November, I couldn't find an actual date, but sometime in November is going to be NASA's Artemis 2 launch. This will be the first crewed mission beyond low Earth orbit since 1972 with Apollo 17. It'll take place using the Horizon spacecraft using a space launch system. This mission builds on 2022's Artemis 1 mission and will test NASA's fundamental human deep space exploration capability. The Artemis program aims to reestablish a human presence on the moon. At the night of November 4th into the morning of the 5th, we'll have the Taurids meteor shower. This will only be about 5 to 10 meteors per hour with not very good viewing conditions because there will be a first quarter moon that will block out most of the shooting stars. What's unusual about this meteor shower, though, it's actually produced by two streams. It's produced by asteroid 2004 GTG10 and comet 2P Enki. Then on November 16th, we have another Mercury at greatest eastern elongation. It'll be about 22.5 degrees from the sun and its highest point above the horizon in the evening. Moving on to November 17th, we'll have Uranus in opposition, which is its closest approach to the Earth. It'll appear as a tiny blue-green dot, and you should be able to see it with most telescopes. On the night of the 17th and into the morning of the 18th, we have the Leonids meteor shower. This will peak at about 15 meteors per hour and is created by the dust from the comet Tempel-Tuttle. Unfortunately, the viewing conditions will not be very good due to a nearly full moon that night. And rounding out the year heading into December, on December 7th, we will have Jupiter at opposition, which will be the best time to photograph and view the planet and its moons, and you might even be able to pick out its stripes through most telescopes, but you should be able to see the planet and some of its moons through even binoculars. The night of December 13th into the morning of December 14th, we'll have the Geminids meteor shower. This is considered the best meteor shower of the year with a peak at 120 meteors per hour. Unfortunately for us this year, there's going to be nearly a full moon that's going to block out a lot of light, but it is still one to get outside and check out, especially if you have clear skies. December 21st is the December solstice, also known as the winter solstice if you are in the northern hemisphere, as it marks the first day of winter. If you're in the southern hemisphere, it marks the first day of summer. This is when the south pole of Earth is tilted the most towards the sun. So the night of the December 21st into the morning of December 22nd, we have the Ursid's meteor shower. At its peak, it'll only reach between 5 and 10 meteors per hour, and it'll have a waning gibbous moon that night, which might black out some of the meteors. This shower is produced by the dust from the comet Tuttle. And last but not least, on December 25th, we will have another Mercury at greatest western elongation. It'll be about 22 degrees from the sun and its highest point above the horizon in the morning sky, so it has good viewing opportunities then. And there we have it. There are all the events that I have written down to happen in 2024. There are some good ones on there that I'm really excited about. I think I'm most excited about the total solar eclipse. Other than that, I'm also excited for some of these mission launches, and I'm excited to see what these new studies will tell us about our solar system and how everything works. Let me know what you're most excited for. Let me know what I missed. Let me know what looking forward to most this year. This is my first video back for 2024. I have some really cool ideas for this channel to come, so stay tuned and subscribe if you want. Well, it's good to be back. Happy 2024. I'll see you in my next video.